Outdoors, and today we are doing lots of things. I've got tons of computers going, so it's going to be kind of shenanigansy. So let me turn down my volume. Apologize. We're going to open up chat and do all that stuff. Hope you guys are doing well. What up, Mr. Franklin? How are you, buddy? I got just tons of stuff to look at here. Lots of screens. It's kind of crazy. Anyways, tonight, starting to go into springtime. Well, we're probably already in springtime. I guess it's almost summertime. So we're going to do some caddis patterns and kind of this like sculpin crawdad combination that I materialized out of my brains from looking at like way too many bass lures years ago. Both of them are pretty cool, effective patterns. One of them's kind of like a Euro nymph. I mean, technically it is a Euro nymph if you want to categorize it. But hey, Dennis. Hey, Daniel. I Spy Trout. Jim Beam. What up, guys? So, yeah, it's a Euro nymph. You can adapt it into any fishing situation, though. Just because it's a heavy underbodied, thin caddis pattern doesn't mean you need to manipulate it too much. So I'm going to kind of show you guys what I'm doing. I don't know what I did with the samples. I'll be perfectly honest. I think I fished them. But that's just kind of the nature of the beast in my world. I get flies, they go on my desk. Either one of my guide buddies takes them or I go out and fish them. And that's kind of just the way it works. So what I'll do is we'll zoom in. I'll talk about the hooks, the theories, the philosophies, all that stuff. And we'll just go from there. Hopefully the lighting's good for you guys. Hopefully the stream's looking good for you. And we'll just kind of work from there. Tandem peg bead. No tandem peg bead. Not today, buddy. So, let's see. So we'll get this guy zoomed in here. And if it's too much zoomed in, just let me know. It looks pretty good on my end, but alright, live stream guys, we're gonna zoom you guys in now. I have to do all this stuff. I need a support crew is what I really need. Whoop. Sorry guys. Everybody on live stream just like puked as they went for a ride as my... There we go. That should work. Alright, so hook choices. There's lots of cool hook choices. Previously you were ordering stuff for this style. I'm going to tie the caddis first. You're ordering, hooks from Europe and stuff like that, and I mean, it just took forever to get cool stuff. So as I rip flash off of this, I'm going to show you guys what I got here. This is an Ahrex FW520. They call it an emerger hook. Now it would probably work great as an emerger styled hook, stuff like that, but I'm going to use it as a nymph hook. Just my gig. And there's going to be some squeaking bobbins because of the thread, I guess. And we're just going to deal with it. What are we tying? A caddis. Caddis pattern. Technically like a free swimming or net builder style caddis. Music's in the background if it's too loud. I run away from my live streams often, but probably not tonight. So I'm just going to kind of let that hang out down there. And you can see I start working my way back up. And if you notice that your thread's slipping right here, you could just go ahead and throw in Russ Green. What's up, man? How's it going? Welcome. Jim Beam. So, what I'm going to use is, this is just a non-lead wire, just so everybody can see. And I have like a small anvil, like a blacksmith would use. And I just flatten it, just to help get these thinner looking bodies. I'm just going to kind of begin by wrapping this in there. And you can see it creates a really good looking body. I mean underbody. It's nice and smooth, there's no ridges to it, and I go almost up to the front. And at that point I'm going to go ahead and pop her off. So kind of just use my fingernails to manipulate the lead into position that I want. And then I'll just haphazardly just take wraps going over the top of the I always call it lead, I'm sorry, I'm old school, the non-lead wire. And I just go back and forth a few times to really get my body right in shape where I want it. So I do use just a little bit of Loctite. This is liquid control. See, Wilson, what's up? It's just, Gregory, it's just wire that goes underneath things, and after tying for, I don't know, 20 some years now, it's used to always be lead wire. So yeah, you're right, I don't think it matters. So I'm just going to take a little bit of some Loctite, same thing you can do with Zap-A-Gap or, you know, whatever crazy glue you're into, and you can just use that. And I just build a little bit of a taper here. The dubbing is going to kind of help that, but we're going to go pretty sparse, and I'll explain the dubbing when we get there. But all in all, you can see it's pretty. 9 to 5 flies, what's up, man? So this is basically, I'll show it to you guys. This is some really cool scudback that I've found like ages ago. This bag, I kind of just filled this bag with it. And there's a bunch of different colorways in here. I'm not sure what it is, but I kind of dig this like olivey brown color. It's just... Z Maynard, what up, dude? So it's kind of cool. There's kind of a dull side and a glossy side. I prefer to tie with the dull side out. And all I do here is I just cut just a little bit of an angled taper into it, if you guys can see that. And that's going to be my tie-in point. I'll show you guys a few variations on this little caddis too. I've got some cool new tricks kind of that I've been playing with to make these things. So they're really fast flies tonight, so I'll tie extra. Make sure you guys get your money worth for this free live stream, right? So basically I just let that kind of hang out the back. Not a lot going on with it. And next up I just use some mono, and this is just a mono cord. You could use 5X, but this is easier. Because then you don't forget that you took your 5X off your tippet spool and show up fishing without 5X. So and I'm just going to bring this almost to the back. It's pretty hard to see, but there is just a smidge behind there of space. So next we're going to dub our body, and the dubbing I'm using is this guy, and it's just kind of a fun bag that had some stickers made. But I'll show you realistically what it is. It is some hairline dubbing insect green, some ice dub in olive, some hairline dubbing in caddis green, and some ice dub in UV light olive. So it's got a little bit of a black in there too, which is peacock black, and I don't see it up here, even though we'll need it in a second. So main thing and important thing is I want to work through this dubbing as much as possible, and kind of just primping it, getting it clean. If you were like super into Euro nymphing, I think the guys like weigh these flies, so like all of their lead's the same. It's a little bit outside of my style, but you can do that if you want to know exactly how much your bugs are weighing, and you tie caddises in like 12 different weights for getting down in certain riffle water, and you want to be hyper scientific about it. More power to you. Not totally my style, like I said. So you can see we're just going to start, and if there's, you're going to have a little, you know, create a few dubbing noodles here. So why I'm doing this really exciting dubbing noodle, because it's kind of monotonous at this point. What do you guys feel about live streams relating to on-the-river tactics and theories and stuff like that? Not that I am anything special, but I'd be stoked to do that with you guys. Field questions. Nobody knows who you are anyways. So you can ask like the goofiest questions. And just seems like it could be fun. So you can see I'm going to have multiple body segments here. So first what I'm going to do, nice light wrap here. And go ahead and pull that. And now I'm really going to crank down. And I like to throw a half hitch in here just because I can secure this before I bring it back. So we have to rib this section of the fly. Curtis, what's up, man? You prefer to fish non-weighted flies. That makes sense in some applications. So all I'm going to do is pull this ribbing. What up, Brando? Shoemaker Kevin, Ollie Goalie. 9 to 5 flies would like that. All right, good. So we have a little bit of a pull going, side pull. So you can see here, I'm just going to go ahead and palmer through these guys. Once I get up here, we'll go ahead and lash down. And I'm just lashing that mono forwards and then backwards before I work through this next section of the fly. Actually, I'm just going to trim it, sorry. So that's kind of done. And then we're going to take this kind of scud back material and go backwards. Let's see. Kevin says, that would be awesome. Casting and different fishing techniques would be good for a noob like me. Right on. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of like little tricks and tips that I've learned probably in the 20-ish plus years that I've been fly fishing that I think it'd be fun to share. You know, like get out on the water, whack a few fish, talk about rigging, stuff like that. I don't think there's enough of that out there for our industry, is really where I'm at. And this is just like some black ice dub. You can see I'm just gonna start creating some segmentation. So yeah, I'm gonna look into how we can try to make something cool or fun like that happen, because I like weird new stuff like that. Keeps me excited. So you can see there I've created this like secondary different looking bump for the abdomen. And I'll go ahead and fold this back over and we'll move forward. Have I ever heard of a fly called a brush hog? No, but I've heard of a brush hog called a brush hog. Nothing catches fish and pumpkin, green pumpkin anywhere you fish it. Definitely one of my favorite bass baits of all time over the years of my youth. I think about every soft plastic company makes one now from my research, because my kids like going bass fishing. And I do too, so I won't lie about that. So we're going to create our second little, this is technically the face. So right now we're just creating the face hole. It's an ice dub, but it's like an off-brand of ice dub, and it's just in a generic bag. So, well, it's not in a generic bag, it's in a generic box, as you can see. Yeah, it's ice dub, but it's not my normal ice dub 369 Peacock Black that I use on pretty much every single thing, or brown that I use on every single pattern, but, you know, it's close enough. And I'm looking at my dubbing brush, on my desk where I normally tie. That's alright. We'll work through it. So now you're going to see on the top of this guy that we're going to have, it's not darkened down and it's not blacker-ish. So I'm going to come in with kind of like a darker brown initially, because I feel like black's a really, really, really harsh color. So you can see you start to kind of tune that in a little bit. And this is all up to you. I do add a little bit, I mean, I don't know if it'll even show up on camera, but I add just a hair of dots. Sweet caddis. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Cabin and on the Madison. I like it. I like the Madison. It's a cool spot. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of, sorry about that. Sorry, I get a little handy, but I'm old and I got to support my hands when I do this stuff. Probably need a couple pairs of readers or something. So you can see you kind of spot it out a little bit. You don't have to. It's just a personal preference thing. Richard, what's up? Live stream from the pit, waiting instructions. I don't know if anything works cell phone wise out at the Pit River here in Northern California. But yeah, waiting on slime covered bowling balls would be a definite learning experience for most people. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of coating the top of the head with a little bit of some flow, and I'm going to cure that with the infinity light. Running late here in Dallas. Nice. What size is this? Let's see. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I got to get caught up here. M. Hollinger, thanks. Big Fins Fishing, thanks, brother. This is a size 8. Number one ham hands in the business. 2XL gloves are all me, brother. So I'm just going to create just a cool little carapace up top here. If you guys don't have flow, you only have thin or thick, just use a lighter coat. Should work out about the same for you. Alright, so that's going to be, you can see there, you get like kind of a cool little gloss section. If you wanted to bling this out a bit, you could kind of go Mike Mercer style, or because Mike will, on a lot of his epoxy back bugs, carry a piece of flash right over the top here. That's something that you could do. You could use a flashier dubbing if you wanted to. Any number of things. You know, if you wanted to just really go all bling, you could just go like straight light olive. If you're having like some off-colored water, really want to UV enhance that fly. Just a multitude of options. Fell asleep watching the Rangers. So I'm going to take, I usually use my dubbing brush for this, but I'm going to go ahead and, you know, pick out some leg action here. Oops. I think my little party light just died. My secondary battery operated light. I've been abusing that thing night fishing. So Russ, that's a great question. So Russ has asked if this rides hook point down. And it rides hook point wherever the river wants it to go. Truth of the matter is, even jig hooks and stuff like that, depending on the water situation, it's going to, I mean, for lack of better terms, your fly is just going to, you know, teeter back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So even if it's on a jig hook just in, you know, in let's say a slower water, it might be a little bit more stabilized. So I'm going to pop this little heavy sinker out of here. I'm going to show you guys another quick variation. It's a kind of a fun one that I've been working on. A lot of the same materials. Well, okay, I won't lie. So like 2 of the same materials. Thanks, Streamwalker. Appreciate it. Do I tie and fish perdigons? Yes. I'll tie some on here soon enough. Maybe we could just do a live stream on the river about Euro nymphing. I have a buddy on the Truckee. Make him do it. He likes Euro nymphing. He's a European guy. Well, there it is. Okay. There the hooks are. So same hook, same underbody. So I'm going to move through this guys really quick. It's going to be kind of a cool little variation though. So if you didn't want to do dubbing, bugginess, and you wanted a more slender body profile. So this is like real-time speed tying here, sorry. So if you guys have questions, just chime them in. We're making a caddis. So I'll make them a little bit shorter once we get out here. So again, same flattened lead. Or non-lead. 20-year habits die really hard in life. I'll tell you that. Another cool underbody material is tungsten sink tip line. Just so you guys know. It does, oops, cut that thread there, so that's alright. Tungsten underbody works great, so if you guys are tying like past rubber legs, you want to get it extra heavy, tie all the rubber legs with tungsten line, you know, like you'd use for skagit casting or sink tip fishing. Adds a little bit of extra weight and not as much movement, but definitely helps your fly get down. Advantage between flat and round. I want a narrower body for a faster sink, right? So it's hydrodynamically going to be narrower, less resistance in the water. That's my theory on it, at least. I tie a lot of really slender-bodied nymphs, so it's kind of like if you're nymph fishing with a tapered leader, you know, you have like a 40 to 60 pound butt section hanging off the top of like kind of where your indicator probably is. And due to the flows inside of the river, you're going to be kind of like hurting yourself. The narrower your line is consistently through the top of the water column, the more your drift will be natural, and you won't have as much drag. So kind of the same theory there. So again, kind of that same dark overbody color. Getting out of line here, talking too much about hydrodynamics of nymph fishing and weird dorky mat stuff, so I apologize. This is going to be a size. This is a size 8 again. Same hook, the FW 520. There we go. And so I'm going to take, if you guys haven't played with this yet, this is a cool product. It's called Glow Bright Floss, and it's really bright. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a long section, double it over, then double it over again. Now that we're into the new territory, I'll slow down a bit. So basically you're going to have four strands of floss. Guys, I'm not quite seeing all of your chat. It's doing something really, really weird on the live stream side. All of you guys on Instagram, I can see you just fine. So if I look like I'm really focusing to read on something, I see something about Joe Humphreys, but let's see if I can just restart the chat. There we go. Nope, hold on. On a fishing show. You know, a lot of these tactics, they've been done for a long time. I know Northern California, I've said it before, there's a ton of guys doing Euro style, not quite Euro nymphing, but you know, a variation of for some time. So we're going to start with our Glow Bright, and this is going to be our underbody. Now this is going to be a little bit more of a flash fly for me. Again, same amount of mass. I'm getting the really similar amount of wraps in there. It's just going to allow for a even slimmer, less, hanging up. Oh, thanks, Big Flav. No, it's we're streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and another live stream format as well as Instagram. So I have 4 chats going technically. So for all of them, I just had to scroll back up. I guess I tried to get ahead of the chat on one of the forums there. But I appreciate it. Boris, what's up, man? So once I have kind of a cool little body laid down, this is some Senors Predator wrap. And I want to separate that from my ribbing because we're still going to rib this guy. And this just creates a really cool segmented style body. As you guys can see, there's a lot of UV in this Predator wrap, so it's going to kind of be a little bit more flashy. So with this now, we're going to straighten it out best as possible. You can run it either way. I guess it doesn't really ultimately matter. But I try to just kind of got it wiggled out here. There we go. We're just going to pull nice. I'm trying to fold it in half. You guys can see that. Because I want that. There we go. So now I have a dark top. Because, this cat is hanging out in the sun all day. They're going to get a tan. And we'll go ahead and start by pulling our segmentation through again. Most of the time the videos should go up pretty quickly. I don't really know. I don't deal with that. I just operate the video stream. Kind of a one-man operation, and then one of our other corporate members manages the upload. But typically they should be up on the live stream channel pretty quickly. Because they're also recorded and then remastered, and all the bad things that I say are taken out, and I don't say bad things, but kind of interesting. So yeah, that should be up there pretty quick, Richard. Argentina, hello, hello. So we'll do the same tactic with this kind of ice dub-esque material. I'm going to keep this guy really lean up here in the face. Well, technically the abdomen, but whatever. We're going to color him in here. Want to get that right there. So I'll pull all those kind of leggy looking sections back just a bit. Get ready here. We'll just kind of create the fly pretty close to the same way at the end. So I'll just go ahead and whip finish. I'm not really too concerned right now at this point. Joe Humphreys, right on, PA. And again, just kind of toning down up front here as best as possible. A little black. So you see you get like a pretty cool grubby looking grub, but the cool part comes, so we can come in here, and I'm going to take flow now, and since this is a bonus fly, and I'm just going to lightly coat everything. So that bug almost becomes gelatinous, and when you pop light on it, it's just going to glow like huge. On the fly, I'm doing well, man, doing well. Just tying some bugs. Some Euro bugs. And some trout spay swingy bug things. Uh-oh. Let's see, did I mess this up? I probably did, didn't I? Let's see where we're at. Alright. So, last but not least, you know, kind of poke around up here, get the legs back out again. And thank you much. Can I send that out to you when I'm done? Sure. If guides don't steal it off my guide buddies don't steal it off my desk first. So kind of the cool thing is when you get up top here, you can see there's a really cool transition, but you don't see like the line of transition after coating with the UV resin. And a big thing I get a lot as product development guy for Loon is, you know, let the flow soak in there. Translucent material, translucent thread, translucent back. Let it get in there and kind of, you know, fiberglass it up a bit and make like a little fiberglass boat thing. So kind of the same fly, just two separate styles. And for everybody on Instagram, obviously, Richard Browning brought up a great question. He was asking about how soon these are uploaded. So they should technically, let's see if I can zoom out just a bit here. There we go. They should technically be uploaded to YouTube and made live here pretty quick. So there's a ton of areas to get back and see this again. All right. It is time. So in the vise is a size 8. It's a Firehole Sticks 811. It's kind of got a cool beak. And by the beak, what I'm talking about is here. If I post this up, you can see there's a good little turn right here. And I zoomed out just a little bit. Easy on the beers. The LaCroix beer. Oh man, that's awesome. Absolutely, absolutely. So you can pick the size that you want. I want this to be kind of a compact bug. So by the time that we get like our little fish skull on here, you know, this is really going to sit. So that hook point's going to live right behind that fish skull. So if you're picking out hooks and stuff like that, like the NS-122 Light Stinger from Ahrex is another standout for this same type of an operation. Just make sure that when you're putting everything together that you leave adequate hook gap. That's not a beer. No, it's not a beer. I don't drink a lot of beers. Maybe I should drink more beer. I don't know. So I kind of do a figure 8 just to hold that in place, and the reason that I do that is we're going to be tying with a Flyman Fishing's thanks Whiskey Caddis. We're going to be using this little Flyman Fishing's skull at the end, because this is going to ride hook point up technically, and I want to make sure, so I need to move that guy. So I just want to put this right behind, right in the wheelhouse there. So you can see with the figure 8 wraps, it's going to start securing that bead in place. Then you can do around the world, some yo-yo tricks, and get everything in there perfectly the way you want it. This is a really pretty simplistic pattern. I'm going to take 10 seconds and grab my dubbing spinner, because I can't do that without it. Normally I keep just like a whole kit over here. I bailed on the whole kit because it went to shows with me. So I'll invert the hook at this point. And spaces, spaces, spaces. Hello. 9263. What's up, man? So the thread I'm tying with, if it looks really small and thin and dainty, it's only 50D, but it's a GSP, and it's, for those of you guys who don't know, it's the only thread I tie with, just because I enjoy its strength. So this is kind of a fun new dubbing. It comes in like over 100 colors, and it's called Senors Laser Hair Dubbing, as you guys can read. And this happens to be a dark brown color. So I just get a pinch for this, and that's my pinch. What I do is, after I pinch, I start pulling it, and this is all like an inch to an inch and a half length fiber. So I put it best I can in my dubbing loop. I'm going to spread it out just a little bit so it allows for the materials to spin around in there. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it, man. So one thing I like to do is, if you guys can see this, I actually spin this in the crease of my finger. I don't go over. I like control, so I have a nice controlled spin this way. And the cool thing with the GSP is you can just spin it for way longer than you would suspect. So I am actually taking the tips of my scissors, I've separated them, and I'm just running them up and down. You want to take some hand control. So don't just run out there and do that, and if you break your thread, you get mad at me. But all the little micro teeth on the serration of our scissors will start to grab that. Oops. Oh, bummer. That's alright. Things spun tighter than know what to do with. And you want to watch the edge of that hook, because whiskey caddis makes them very sharp. And he enjoys watching me impale myself with said hooks. So at this point, what we got here, if you guys can see, is just this little kind of collar of dubbing. You could use a feather in this scenario. You could use a lot of different things. You can also use rabbit hide. For me personally, I'm going to be using just some pine squirrel. These were locally sourced and dyed by me. We have squirrel infestation. Any of you guys have seen me missing live streams? We're just going to tie with them now. Totally joking. I wish I had the time to figure out how to make all that happen for reals, but not really. So you can see there's a natural direction that the hair is going to start to lay, and we want to face that backwards. And the way I'm going to put these in is, so if we're looking at the front, kind of like a 9 and 3 o'clock position, I guess you would say. And these are going to get trimmed. I'm being mildly wasteful, so don't do that. But so once we have them kind of where we want them, what I'll do is I'll flip the fly over, and I'm going to take some flow. So here's kind of a weird little trick, and I'm going to saturate. I'll try to get my hands out of the way. I'm going to saturate the hide, and I'm going to pull it into what I consider the dream position. And I'm going to try to do this without blinding you guys. So now that's in the dream position. So I don't turn the light off, because you're going to be curing the other side in just a second. But again, I'm going to allow that flow just to soak into this hide, and I'm talking maybe about a ½ inch worth, and then I'll cure it. You can kind of cure both of them, and you just want them to stand out. And I'll explain to you, it's funny somebody brought up a brush hog, but I totally think of this, it looks like a brush hog. So now you can see we have some more stability, and you're going to get, when you're under tension, when this fly is under tension, the tail is going to bind backwards. On slack, or if you bring it onto the soft, say if you're fishing, you bring it onto a soft inside edge, and you'll be able to do some stripping pulses like crawdads, because I've been in, you know, high mountain streams snorkeling. There's crawdads in there. So you have two baits, a swinging bait, and like a functional strip bait or fly all in one. And if you guys can tell, I spend way too much time researching regular bass stuff. So I'm going to just do a pinch here of that same Senors laser dub, dark brown again. And then I'll just walk right in front of it with the thread, kind of like you were stacking deer hair. For down here, we're going to haircut it. I want a nice flat belly, and I'm just kind of setting the stage because when we put this head on here, it's going to lie flat as well. It's going to push on there. And if a fish is below you and you swing over the top of it, say on a rock or a drop, there's an attractor built in. The bead's in there to help keel the fly, make it a little bit heavier, but it's also it's also kind of like a hot spot to create curiosity. Let's see. I missed it. How'd you tie that in on there? I tied the rabbit strip just, I envision hooks as a clock, if that makes any sense. So I tied it in at like the 9 and 3 position. Most people look at me like I'm weird, but well, if you know me, I am weird, so that's fine too. So I just tied them out either side like you would like regular legs on like a nymph pattern. This all kind of gets, I want to have a little bit of a ramp here for what we're going to do next. So you can pick your poison here. This is some really nice select Brahmahin. I use this a lot in soft hackles for various soft hackles along with partridge. You know, fly tying's kind of an addictive sport or hobby. You want to have every material and colorway and all that stuff. So, and it's not a rabbit strip. It's actually a pine squirrel strip. It's a little aggressive for a fin, but we'll tone it down a bit. So you guys can actually coat the fins. I'm sure you've seen me do it before with flow, and you just kind of, you can do it on a plastic bag, or you can lightly brush it in there. You guys can all see that right now. I'm trying to do it on camera as possible. And we'll just go ahead and cure this. And that's going to become, if you guys see it now, it's solid and it's like rubber. So I'll take one wrap. And I want these to pop. Like, I want them to have that kind of activity, because when a sculpin comes down and sits, he pops his fins out, takes a rast on him. So you can see we have like pretty close to a matching pair. It may not be 100% perfect, but at the end of the day, the fish can tell the difference in two fin sizes. You've got a really smart fish on your hands, and you better bring the 7X. And this works equally as well. I like to focus the beam down. This is just a little bench light. So it does a killer job as well. So you can see now we have a cool movie rubberized shaky feather here. Still have a little bit of time. You can, you know, you haven't tied through it all yet. A lot of this is going to get covered up, so don't worry about the white thread. It doesn't really play much in there. So this is like kind of a cool orangish reddish brown. Dibs on this fly too. Would ice dub work for this fly? Yeah, absolutely. If you had some ice dub, you wanted to create a little bit of extra flash, it's a great question. Yeah, you can sub in dubbings as you please. I've just been enjoying using this new Senyo dub here. So that is why it's in there. But yeah, I mean, sky's the limit. You can put anything in there as far as dubbing goes, as long as it, you know, kind of looks like your fly. Like colorway. You know, tie these in olives and, you know, far more reddish brown and stuff like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to advance this here. This will seem kind of strange, but these heads have a little bit of space in there, and you got to watch out for that hook point because you've now hidden it from yourself. Never intelligent, but that's what happens. Southwest Primitive, what's going on, man? How are you? Welcome. Yeah, you could use small little mallard flanks. I mean, anything that you got that mottled, really, we're just kind of going for mottled looking stuff. It's nothing, there's nothing magic about my selection. It's really just having a representational pectoral fin. Or if it's moving like that, and like you get into that slow inside edge, or you're stripping this fly, you know, it could also really represent a crawdad. There's extra movement. So I like to really just mat down this dubbing ball that I just kind of wound on there with some glue. Extra goes on the bottom of the bench always. That's probably why it's always ruining pants for me. So we'll take the tips of our scissors here. We'll just start working out this dub. So remember, I wanted to have this be flat. I'm going to trim away right here. I'll show you guys what I'm doing. I won't get to see, but you will. So I'm trimming this all out really nice and flat. And don't mind, you know, you don't really have to worry about the fish like looking into that little space orifice zone. Probably not going to happen. So I'll come back and start to kind of taper in here. Mind where your fins are at. You don't want to, you know, we're past the point of replacing them. So that glue's set up, and now you have this really cool profiled fly. And no fly is complete without adhering the eyeballs to it. Because eyeballs make everything better. So I do pre-glue these. Just a drop. The reason I do that is I love everybody who makes fly tying stuff, but the adhesive on the eyes is just never, it's never enough for me. So I just take them in my scissor actually and position them, because like if you remember right, I have ham hands and I just get my fingers stuck. And then I'd be stuck to this fly and it'd be embarrassing. Now, what's cool too, if you guys notice, I'll show you here. This is about all said and done, start to finish, about a 3.5 to 4 inch fly. Yeah, exactly. I always lose the eyes on everything. I try to glue the potatoes out of them on every fly. It always seems that's what happens. If you guys need to, cool trick is, if you want to trim these guys exactly even, let me get them straight here, is you can come in if you wanted to trim them down. I grab them both at the same time, if you guys can see that, and I just cut. Now you're going to have equal lengths. So at the end of the day, that's your crawdad version, and when it compresses in faster water, you'll have a sculpin pattern. So it's kind of a little fun dual-purpose fly. I get really weird and nerdy. I like to taper the edges, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to zoom out again. Whoop, zoom out. De-enhance. We'll go out wide here too. Insova71, what's up, man? So, yeah, so you guys can see at the end of it all, you get this really cool kind of crawdad profile out of this, and then it just collapses into a nice sculpin. So, nice heavy little bug. It's going to push down into some deeper stuff that you might not, you know, get your averagely weighted fly into. You know, it's kind of searching for that right fish that's really eating stuff that's bigger like that. So I think that's about it, guys. It's about all I've got for you today. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed this. We'll be back in the next few weeks, and we'll go from there. All right, guys. We'll catch you next time. Take care.